I'm Josh Liston from On the Bubble podcast, an oral history of television fandom, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, near and far. Welcome to episode 506 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, November 6th, 2022. My name is Chris. I'm joined by my usual band of misfits and cohorts here. We'll start first with the Banana Man himself, Mr. Willie D. Nelson.
That's me, Banana Man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Banana Man. I appreciate
Yes. Banana Man.
The Banana Man cometh.
The Banana Man.
The Banana Man. But don't worry, it's not just the Banana Man. We're also joined by one Mr. Anthony Bachman.
Negative. I'm a meat popsicle.
I don't think Banana Man approves.
Don't care. Gonna keep saying it until you watch The Fifth Element.
I think I have that same coffee mug, by the way.
Oh, these were great. This was
I got two of them upstairs.
Yeah, it was a pair, and it came with hot chocolate, which I think was it? It might have been. It was either like Walmart or Hot Topic or something. One year they had them out, or maybe Hastings. Yeah, I've had these for like 10 years now.
Yeah, I have two.
Two of my
I used
favorite
to have,
coffee cups.
when I actually had a desk at work before they sent us all home, I had a cup like that on my desk at work with the Spider-Man side out, which is Ultimate Spider-Man cover art. But it was full of change, basically. It was my change cup when I needed to go hit the vending machine or anything like that. So I had to wash it quite heavily when I brought it home because there was a lot of...
It was Chris's snack cup.
Well, it was more... soda was like $1.25 or something like that. So I would take $2 down, I'd get 3/4. But we also had change machines that were great because if you put $5 in the change machine, you'd get back dollar coins. And I don't see dollar coins very many places. So that's how I got a crap load of dollar coins. And not just the Susan B. Anthony ones. There was also like the new Sacagawea ones and the President ones and stuff like that.
The new Sacagawea ones.
Relatively new in comparison to Susan B. Anthony dollars. The Susan B. Anthony dollars like 70s and 80s, right? And then Sacagawea was 2000s. Then the President's is modern day.
Why do you want dollar coin?
It's a unique and novel thing to me.
Just like being back in Canada when I was in the Navy and I had a pocket full of loonies and toonies.
Look, I hadn't seen dollar coins in forever, so one time I needed change. I was like, oh, how quaint. I'm getting coins back. And I enjoyed it. So I kept a few.
I mean, that's fair. Usually when I go on vacation, I always had a little fun prank I like to do. I like to go get at least $100 worth of $2 bills.
Oh, see, that
to
one's
see if anyone's like, this ain't real.
$2 bills are real, ladies and gentlemen, just so you all know.
It's true.
You can still get them from the bank if you ask for them.
Yeah, it's nice, though.
No, if you go up there and ask them, hey, put it in the bag now. They usually do it.
There's no way that's going to backfire on you long term.
And they even put in like a special like Kool-Aid brand bill in there too, because it turns everything blue. It's cool.
It's a celebration. It explodes in celebration of your recent bank visit.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
Well, it's not always blue dye packs. Sometimes they're purple. Sometimes they're other colors. Willie, why?
Congratulations! It's a fucking Martian. Are you happy now? God damn it!
Why would a Martian be purple?
Why would they not be purple?
I mean, don't we normally associate Martians with little green men? Wouldn't green be the obvious choice there?
Nope, little green men is just for general spacemen.
Little green men was Martians.
Nope,
which is weird because they come from the red planet.
Clearly a black void.
Have you seen Mars Attacks by chance?
They're not green.
They were greenish.
They were greenish.
With big brains.
Oh god, okay, I'll give you. They were greenish. They were also bluish. They were also yellowish.
You know what they weren't ish? Purple.
What they were was a lot of brain.
Willie, you're being a sore loser. I don't know how to do that one. Sorry.
Yeah, because no one's a
sore loser-ish.
Banana Man.
But
that doesn't work.
But you did lose, BT Dubs.
That's what you want to say.
Banana
your show, man.
You
Who
need
am I
to
to
know the
argue?
truth. Just embrace
Sure.
the truth, Banana Man.
Sure, your truth.
Oh God.
Your
here we go.
banana.
Here we go.
I want a recount.
Stop
Oh,
it.
boy.
Welcome.
So on a similar thing, before we get into actual show stuff, I have a question. Have you guys
Mhm.
started exploring any Twitter alternatives yet? And I am not one of those that's melting down like, oh my God, I'm leaving Twitter. But there are people that are of interest to me that have been leaving Twitter. So I've been exploring some of the stuff that's out there, and none of it really is quite the same. Now, Willie, you're not much of a Twitter user, so maybe this question is not going to apply much to you.
Of course, I'm at South Porky on Twitter. You know, the blue check mark verified account.
You're going to
thing,
pay your
you know.
$8 a month to be blue check mark verified now?
I mean, why not, man? No, I'm not.
No, I have no intention to do so either. But I have been exploring a couple other ones out there. Steven, if you're on the Gonna Geek Discord, you can see how he accidentally ruined his test of trying out Mastodon, which is one alternative because he bought like the cheapest instance you could get because he wanted to play around with it, see how it worked. And if you read what was said in our Discord server, was his plan was really just to kind of shudder it after he was done learning. But he also wanted to have some fun with it because, hey, that's Steven. So he was trying to come up with a unique name to assign to it and get a domain for it. So being that Steven's from Canada, he went with Moostodon and got the URL for that. And then it kind of attracted the attention of, the CEO and the folks that run Mastodon. And they started like talking about his server. And he goes, I accidentally ruined my test of seeing how creating a new server works by having a unique, funny name on it that now everyone wants to check out my server. And I have a cheap enough instance of it that nothing works right now because I'm getting hammered so hard for resources.
Canadian Mastodon is Moostodon. That makes sense.
Moostodon. Well, I don't fully understand Mastodon yet. I've dabbled a little bit, but you can kind of have your own instances of, I guess the best way to think of it is think of it like Discord, where we can all have our own Discord instances. But Mastodon is like that, but they all link back to the one major Mastodon page somehow. I don't fully understand how it works yet. All I have done is read up a little bit on Mastodon. I haven't really played with it too much.
And I logged back into my account on Mastodon just to put out a post that said, did enough people leave Twitter to make this viable yet? And I didn't get any responses. So
I did try
that was
one
kind of telling.
I tried one this morning that I signed up for on our pre-show that Scott Johnson, who runs the Frog Pants network of podcasts and stuff like that.
Frog Pants?
Yeah, he had talked about this one. It's called Counter.social. And I tried it. I signed up for it. And their default layout looks a lot like TweetDeck, if you guys are familiar with what TweetDeck looked like. And all I did is I posted 2 comments, I think, or 3 comments. The first one was, hey, I'm a newbie just looking to see how this works. Can anyone point me to some tips? And I got some nice, pleasant tips, pointers of where I could go to learn how the service works. And then I said, hey, where's all the professional wrestling fans at? And started an interchange with some folks who are also AEW fans. Now, it's created a much smaller pool, but my early 20-minute impression of it was, hey, this is kind of cool. I found people that are talking to me. We have similar interests. It's obviously not near as large as Twitter or anything like that, but it's interesting nonetheless. And I can actually get the name I wanted. I don't have to put the Chris Farrell for these. I can just be Chris Farrell because no one's land grabbed it already. That's part of why I'm starting to look at these, is to land grab in case something comes up. But that one was interesting. And what's interesting on Counter Social, from what I was telling, is there's certain countries that are banned because they just don't want to have to put up with bots and bad actors and stuff like that. So Russia, North Korea, things like that. If you're located there, granted, you can probably get around the geo block. Can't have an account, which I thought was interesting. I don't know. I just dabbled a little bit. I haven't gotten too deep into it. There was another one, and I'm trying to find the name of it because now I've completely forgotten what it's called. Was it cast.info or no? I can't remember. There was another one that I had gotten some info on, and I had scribbled it down on a post-it note to start looking at, and I hadn't made it very far through it yet. But nothing is really like Twitter, if that's what you guys want. I mean, maybe that is, maybe that isn't. And we're not going to go into any of the theories of why Twitter is what it is, but I think it's fair to say there's a lot of people looking for alternatives right now because of how things are shaking out.
This has been so painful to listen to as a person who doesn't give a shit about social media.
That's fair.
Like I can't even tell you the last time I clicked on
So
Facebook.
I've curated my
I
stuff
don't
to
know.
mostly have positive interactions with folks on social media. So I've enjoyed oftentimes my experience on Twitter or chatting with people.
Stop, hold on.
What?
You just told me a fucking lie. There's no positive interactions on the internet. You're fucking
Sure there is.
lying to me.
Yes, there
You're
is.
lying to me.
Sure, there is. We've had interactions with people that
Well,
been
like
on this
these people
show.
over here, like I don't know. I can't see anything. So
You mean
know-
the chat room that you can't look at?
Do you know how
I can't
often,
see.
like, it's not an irregular thing to trade back and forth tweets with David Papose, who Spencer Locke, Savage Avengers,
Mhm.
things like that. People we know. It's an interesting way to reach out and connect with other creators.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-social media, but I think there are some people that allow themselves to become far too consumed by it, and then that's all that matters to them. I think it's an interesting tool to talk to other people of similar interests. And when social media becomes painful and annoying, just take a step back is what I do. Or I figure out what's making it annoying and I remove it from my experience.
Exactly. You put in specific words and block those words from appearing in any tweets on your Twitter feed. It can make Twitter a lot better.
Listen, you know what? I'm just gonna make my own, and it's gonna do great. And I'm just gonna say what it is: echo chamber. Because guess what? That's what you're in. Because that's what everyone
fair.
wants, right?
But that's the other one I couldn't remember. It's cohost.org is the other similar Twitter thing. I haven't had a chance to do much, but just write it
It's called
down.
what?
Cohost.org.
That doesn't flow. That's not gonna do well.
Well, I don't know what it's going to end up getting called, but I mean that's the thing.
Oh,
Twitter's
for
been around
fuck's
for how long now? Remember when Twitter first came out, everyone was like, "The fuck's Twitter mean? What is that?" It's all a
Yeah.
matter of the name has to take on, or you shift it into something else. I don't think
It
you're
has
ever
to become
going,
a verb.
You're
As
never
soon as
going,
it becomes a verb, you're good.
yeah, you're never going to find something that's the 100% complete replacement for what Twitter is in the state it is, say, 6 months ago, where people were arguably relatively happy with it. You'll never have something that's 100% the same of that.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that you bring it up, I'm wondering, what is my first friend doing now? You know, good old Tom from
Tom on MySpace.
Yeah, what's he up to now?
I mean, that's the thing to realize too, is we kind of make the gag there, but it's not really unheard of for these social media platforms to die off and other things to come and replace them. We had Friendster back in the day. When's the last time someone talked about Friendster in a legitimate way, or even MySpace?
But that was a real thing, Friendster?
Friendster was
Yeah.
a real thing in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. Post AIM, pre MySpace.
Pre-Facebook
Friendster, yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah, pre Facebook. It was a big thing.
I mean,
yeah.
the other thing we need to consider here, or just keep in mind, is, I mean, how much has Facebook's stock gone in the tank as of late? Because they're deep in this metaverse thing that no one else seems to care about besides Mark Zuckerberg.
You know, the actual human, Mark Zuckerberg.
Lies.
Yeah, it's not like he looks like Data at all.
No, I'm saying it exactly. The actual human, Mark Zuckerberg. I want to say it like that because he wants to say it like that.
Nobody can compete with his style.
I'm
It's a
not
South
okay.
Park reference there, everyone.
All right.
For when
I
Mark
didn't know that
Zuckerberg
one.
came to South Park, and then they ripped on him.
I mean, he looks easy to make fun of and
That's
pick
fair.
on.
So, if you guys who are watching or listening to this have started dabbling with any of these other social media platforms, things like that, feel free to chime in the chat. Head on over to the Gonna Geek Discord at gonnageek.com/Discord. You can either mention it in the tech channel or in our channel there. Wouldn't mind chatting with you guys about stuff that you've learned about on some other alternatives out there. Like I said, I don't really anticipate that I'm going to leave Twitter unless Twitter literally dies, because I've just enjoyed things there. I may cut back on my time there, things like that, if I find other replacements for that interaction that I get. But I'm not one of those people that, oh my God, Elon bought the bird, I'm going to cancel immediately and leave. I don't care that much. Really.
Cancel what? They already got your information.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. We are the product to them. And then now they're pivoting to wanting $8 a month from people to appear like they're verified, which is going to ruin the aspect of Twitter that was interesting, which was interacting with people who might be of notoriety, because you could be assured that that was them. There's nothing.
Yeah,
with
the
this
actual person.
There's
Yeah.
nothing with this current platform that doesn't stop me from making a at Dan Slot, but I'll turn one of the T's into a lowercase L so it looks like it, and then paying the same money to get a verified check mark next to me and pretending like I'm Dan Slot if I wanted to.
You go with a... Okay. How does a T look like it? You know what?
If you look at it at a glance and say you put the L right before the second T, you look at it at a glance.
It'll look like it's crossed.
It'll look like it's crossed. That's what a lot of these fake accounts do. And with their method of pivoting to is because trolls and bots aren't going to pay $8 a month to fuck with people. It's only going to be real people who decide to do that. They kind of, I mean, you've also got the fact that a lot of these folks, like Dan Slott himself said, yeah, I'm not paying $8 a month to prove that I'm me, to continue having the interactions I've been having on this platform. He's like, I'll see you all on Instagram, basically is what it came down to.
Yeah, his big thing this morning, he put up a tweet with a step-by-step process of how to download your tweet archive, just so that if you are one of the people that's leaving Twitter, you can go, before you close your account, download a copy of everything you've ever tweeted and have an archive of that on your computer sourced locally, so that after you get rid of your account, if someone decides to create a fake Dan Slott account and then start tweeting, you can prove it's not yours.
I currently have a setup thing through a service called tweetdelete.net where I delete all of my tweets that are over 6 months old. Every 3 days, the job runs and deletes it. Because I don't want those gotchas out there. Because, look, we're all going to speak out of turn occasionally or speak incorrectly by accident, and people will misconstrue it, whether that was your intention or not. So, okay. My stuff basically self-destructs every 6 months.
I'm pretty sure I got some James Gunn level awfulness out there from 10 years ago when I was on Twitter, making bad jokes. But no one's trying to cancel me, so I'm not worried.
I'm sorry. Look at me. Look at me. I'm wearing a fucking banana shirt. Of course I own up to my bad jokes.
The banana joke's great. What are you talking about?
I didn't say banana jokes, just bad jokes.
That's fair. So, I mean, that's another thing to consider is if you're someone who's leaving and you don't want to leave that historical data behind. I believe if you deactivate your account through Twitter, it basically makes it so none of it shows up anymore. I think you can delete your account, but I think that means
that's what it
could be claimed again at some point in time.
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to do. And so, yeah, that's the thing. If you delete your account, I think someone else can just turn right back around and sign up with your user handle.
Yeah, your simplest thing to do if you wanted to just be able to keep your name but make sure no one could take it or make sure there's no history is use one of those sites like Tweet Delete or other things like that and basically just make a copy of everything and then delete it so that all that's there is basically 0 posts, but you could put in your bio before you basically stop using it, hey, I'm over on this platform now. Just a thought for people. Or just don't give a crap like Willie. That's also a legitimate argument for this too.
Live your best banana life, baby.
Your best banana life? That works.
I mean, I'm kind of the thought that Twitter is going to self-destruct itself sooner than later at this point in time, it sounds like. But maybe I'll be wrong. Who knows?
It definitely could. When your first step coming in is like firing half of the staff and getting rid of all the moderators, like that's usually not a good first step for a social media company. Like, hey, half your staff's gone. All the people that were in charge of making sure awful shit isn't on your social media platform are now gone. It could be an interesting couple of months.
It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Oh, I'm all with them on saying no moderators. Yeah, like no, let them, let us call them out. Like, let you.
Yeah,
put
but it doesn't
some
work that way
shit
because of the nature of how this works. Is then it just becomes an echo chamber and then allows other people to feel safe doing it because there was research that came out and from various different groups like the ACLU and stuff like that that within hours of the purchase of Twitter going through, the N-word use exploded on Twitter, just exploded.
Yeah, like 2,000% increase,
like
in
more
like
than
an
they
hour.
had seen in months before that, like in the span of a day and other things like that, because people were celebrating the fact that, oh, it's going to be, we can say whatever the hell we want because that's what's been promised to us. So then all of the hate and all that stuff started coming out and they cleaned it up.
We can be racist, misogynistic pricks again.
I just be out there screaming, titty!
So, one last point before we get off this. The thing that is going to be interesting here is there's an article I think that summed it up really well last week on The Verge. It was called Welcome to Hell, Elon, is what the title of it was. Was that he's got the grand thoughts of I want to make this the public square on the internet where you can say whatever you want, however you want it to be. But he doesn't realize that Twitter's beholden to the advertisers. How do you keep the service running? It's not charging people $8 a month to get Twitter Blue and be verified. It's having advertiser dollars. And if your platform becomes a festering pit of hate where people basically don't want to go on there because they're basically assaulted by profanities or racial epithets or things like that, advertisers aren't going to want to advertise with you either, because like it or not,
Yeah.
their brand then gets mixed up with your brand. So this is going to be the interesting thing going forward, is he wants to thread that needle of making this the open town square of the internet. But I don't think he wants to pay for running everything by himself, because it would become a money sink really fast. And granted, Elon Musk has lots of money, and he leveraged a lot of money out of a lot of foreign assets to purchase this. But you got to have the money coming from the advertisers to keep it open. And I think there's something like, I'd seen a list of somewhere between like 10 to 20 advertisers that right after the acquisition, and seeing the explosion of what happened on there, and seeing some of the comments from the now chief twit of Twitter, as he calls himself, have paused their advertising with Twitter. The question is, do they resume their advertising? And in order to do so, what needs to be done to make those companies and those advertisers feel comfortable returning to advertising on Twitter? I'm not sure this $8 a month, if you pay this, you're verified, and your tweets then take priority over someone else's, is going to fix those problems for advertisers.
And it's not going to make him enough money, because enough people have seen that are verified on Twitter that instantly they're like, yeah, I'm not paying $8 to prove that I am who I say.
Well, and then they lose their verification if they don't pay for it, it's my understanding too. So you could be verified now. Say you're Kevin Smith, and you're verified as being that Kevin Smith. If you decide not to pay your $8 a month, at some time to be determined, the blue check mark goes away, but also the protections that verified people got, because they got a more filtered at screens, they got more privacy protections and stuff to be able to filter out troll responses and stuff like that. Then you just go back to being a regular schlub like the rest of us, unless you pay your $8 a month, it would seem.
Which means we'll all be able to DM Stephen King. Yes.
I think Twitter made some point of saying that they would ensure that like government organizations and stuff like that wouldn't have to be paying the $8 a month for it. So like, for instance, at POTUS here in the United States would remain verified without paying $8 a month. Stuff like that. But who knows? It's weird. And I think that that plan for verification kind of misses the mark of what Twitter was.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to screw with people, $8 a month is not a big expense. And he seems to be of the mindset that, oh, this is going to be the barrier to entry that's going to prevent abuse. And then those trolls that don't want to pay it, all their stuff gets filtered to the end of the queue, because all the prioritized stuff will go to people who are verified, which I think also kind of limits your whole town square idea.
Yeah, because then it's just, whoever pays the most money gets all their stuff at the top of your feed.
Yeah. Now, granted, some of this stuff, none of this stuff is actually launched yet. And if you follow any of the other businesses that Elon Musk has been associated with, you see how he tends to regularly pivot and change his mind. So God knows what's actually going to happen, but it's going to be interesting. I think that's fair to say.
Since we're talking about Twitter and stuff, how about that metaverse thing?
Yeah, I think.
How does it
You mean
look?
Facebook?
How does it look? I meant that the VR thing. How does it look worse than Lawnmower Man in the 90s?
They're going to get legs soon, though. They're going to get legs. That's going to fix it.
What? It looks worse than Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
I've seen
it's
good
Facebook VR.
VR chat. Look at that. You can make any fucking avatar you want. You have, like do you know the ways, the Knuckles thing,
You know,
everything.
Here's how the metaverse becomes successful. And this is going to sound bad to say. We have another pandemic that causes lockdown and people can't go and do anything. That's what the metaverse would be useful for, because you can't have your in-person meetings, but hey, put on your goggles and we're going to have our meeting in our in-person virtual chat room. I think it's dumb. I mean, I'd much rather just have a Skype call or a Teams call or something like that. But I guess that's part of what the planning and thought there is. And there's been some interesting, if you follow some of the tech reporters and the social media reporters out there, which pop up on my Twitter timeline, that's how I learn about it. The only person that really seems super gung-ho for this whole metaverse thing is Zuckerberg. Like, even the staff that are working on it, they're supposed to have like their stand-up meetings and stuff in a virtual conference room, and people like won't even put the goggles on to do it. They're like, no, this is
actual
dumb.
Human Mark Zuckerberg. Make sure you say
actual
that.
Human Mark Zuckerberg. So like, he can't even sell it internally to the people that are working on it. And that's part of the reason their stock prices just shit the bed lately. If you go and look at Facebook, I mean, it's not as bad as Warner Brothers Discovery stock prices, if you've seen what those have done over the last 6-9 months. But the whole metaverse thing, barring another lockdown pandemic, I just don't see how it takes off. And even then, I don't know if that really sticks after the next round of lockdown would happen, if that happened.
Well, and barring good design. How does it look worse than the Amazon interface for putting on the Quest goggles and just watching a movie on the Amazon Prime on that app?
Maybe I'm biased because my workplace did pivot to telework for our stuff. So I'm like, but why do I need to have a virtual conference room to talk to people when for the last year and a half, 2 years, it's just been, hey, I have a question. Let me call you on Teams. And then we chat through it on Teams. And that's all it is. And when we have our weekly stand-up, it's everyone calls into the Teams room. We throw up the notes on the whiteboard, on the virtual whiteboard or whatever. We discuss them, and then we go on from there. I don't need to see your avatar, which doesn't really reflect what you're doing, to understand what's going on. There is something to be said for when you have these meetings, if people have their cameras on, being a bit more helpful, because as humans, we rely on visual cues sometimes to know if people are paying attention or if they have questions or things like that, or if they want to talk, like Willie was pausing a second, looking like he was going to talk. Those are things that are helpful, but you don't get that in the metaverse because it's not going to look at your face and be able to relay the fact that someone's like giving you the what the fuck look or something like that.
Or they're falling asleep on you. You won't be able to tell. Yeah, because it's just an avatar.
I mean, we're not experts on this stuff at all, but we all dabble with tech. We all dabble with software and stuff like that. We all have different experiences with it.
Yeah, my work now, we do I've done all of my meetings since I left training through Microsoft Teams, and it's not the best for sound quality. The sound quality is actually really shit. It's worse than Skype, but the camera works just great. And so when your supervisor actually wants to see, like, are you, at your desk working, like, during your little chat, I mean, that part of it works just fine. But yeah, there's throwing up like an avatar of something that you want them to see would just be ridiculous, because that's defeating the purpose.
Look, I can count on one hand the number of times I've turned my camera on for a work call in the last 2 years, but it's nice to have that feature there.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was doing something, there was a big briefing trying to brief management on what's going on, I would probably have my camera on, because there's something about having a face with what you're presenting that makes it stick better.
Chris is going to make you look at his face. Look at my face! Look at my face.
I guess people are so used to, especially in today's world, someone just throws the PowerPoint slides up and that you just kind of lean back and watch, that I think having the person there makes it stand out a little differently so people pay more attention. I don't know. That's just my thought. What do I know, though? I don't know shit.
It's a bunch of social media gobbledygook. Who cares?
Gobbledygook.
It is.
You know what else is gobbledygook?
What?
News.
Oh.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down what is in our minds some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up here in the last week or since our last show, and share it with you guys who are tuning in and joining us.
Whoa, hold on a second. This just in. This brand new news. Bananas are delicious. Carry on.
Thank you, Banana Man.
You're welcome.
We appreciate all of your help there, Banana Man.
I will spread my potassium ways to everyone.
Now we have constant banana updates.
So, Banana Man, you should know I have a banana for breakfast 4 or 5 days a week. I'm already on your side.
I used to.
Banana Man.
If you're in the mood for a phallic object, bananas are your man.
I see what you did there, Banana Man.
Did you know if you lick me, I'm banana flavored?
Oh.
What, you have banana body wash, Willie?
The secret is I'm not really, but they do take a taste anyway.
So gross. So gross.
Huh. So I'm going to go first with my news story, and we might need to leverage some knowledge from one Willie D. Nelson as we go through this, because Willie, you now can chime in and help us when it comes to questions we have about the topic I'll be discussing. So how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Are you ready to chime in to help me out with this news story?
If I'm your expert, you're pretty fucked.
It's game over, man.
He's not
Game
wrong.
over.
He's not wrong.
Let's go.
All right, let's go with my news story. I got this from Kotaku.com. You can find it in our show notes at bit.ly/ATGN506 if you want to go and check it out for yourself. So we're going to talk about Destiny 2. This is a game that's been out for a while, and it's made by Bungie, which has now been acquired, I believe, by Sony. So it is now a Sony first-party developer, which gets us in a whole other thing. I hadn't thought about this point of view, but we can talk about this later. Sorry, it just popped in my head. But Destiny 2, it's a game that's available on Xbox, both previous gen and current gen, and on PlayStation, both current gen and previous gen. Destiny 2.
Wait, it's on current gen?
It's on current gen, I believe.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Destiny 2. So the next gen ports launched alongside the PS5 and the Xbox Series devices back in 2020. Now, we should point out they weren't new games, they're improved versions of the last gen originals, having higher resolution, 60 frame per second support, loaded faster, and a snappier feel than the PS4 and Xbox One versions, respectively. So they did put out next gen versions. And what they have noticed, Sony here, in their weekly Bungie, in their weekly blog post entitled This Week at Bungie, the studio included a small PSA about the situation, stating that a notable number of PS5 players were not playing the next-gen port, but were playing the PS4 version of Destiny 2 on their PlayStation 5s. Meaning they had carried things over from the PS4, put on the PS5. And they also included, with that PSA, their directions for how to ensure you have the next-gen version of PlayStation 5 Destiny 2. Now, Willie, why I bring this up is you had just recently shared, and perhaps I'm spoiling what you're into a little bit here, but you'd shared in our group chat, you were able to get a PlayStation 5 this week.
Hey, you gonna spoil shit.
I just said I was going to spoil it, but we're going to leverage your expertise here because now you are a next-gen console owner. You can have these pains of, okay, I've got, let's just say hypothetically you were a Destiny 2 player. You had it on your PS4, you moved things over to your PS5. Would you have known easily at a glance that there was an easy way to upgrade that to a PS5 version? Would it tell you that or anything like that? Or is it you would have to drill in to some kind of menu to perform that update?
Listen, I don't know if I'm some kind of superhero or something.
Well, Banana Man.
Shh. No one knows. Banana Man. Shh. But anyway, I don't know if people are just dumber than, Banana Man, but what I like to do when I get anything, tech worthy or something that it has a UI, I go through and see what all I can do with the UI.
Okay, that's fair.
What can I change? What can I change? What does this button do? Oh, I'm not tech savvy. I just look at shit and say, oh, that's what that does. So if I want to do that, I just go do that thing because I know how to do that. That's so there's three buttons. There's three little, the little three dots, saying for options. You click on that, you select version. That's it. Now the only thing I can think of is maybe people will worry that you can't migrate your save. I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking. People are weird.
I think that varies by
weird,
game
people.
from what we'd seen previously when we talked about this. Is sometimes, like the Avengers game, there was some weird rigmarole of how to get your save game moved from the PS4 version to the PS5 version using the Sony Cloud Save and all sorts of backdoor ways of doing things. I don't think there was one simple way between all the different games.
I will say that shoot, I had something. What was it? I had split.
I don't know. You're my expert here, Willie.
Expert? I'm an expert just because I know how to see the thing and select a version to PS4 to PS5. The only thing, that's what it was. The only thing I can think of is they want to try and save space on their, their solid state drive, their SSD, because I've found out that you cannot save game, or you can't download games to an external hard drive, even if they're if they're PS5 versions.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
You can only put them on the actual console hard drive.
Point of comparison, I'm not turning this into a console war or anything like that.
Oh, you're good.
Is the Xbox did it slightly differently, which is you can download the Series S or X version and you can put it on your internal hard drive and say you wanted to get Call of Duty. Let's use that as an example, which we know is notorious for ridiculous file size. And you're like, okay, I know I'm going to need room for this, but I want to be able to go back and keep playing
What's compression?
Cyberpunk 2077 later. You can just copy the Series X
Spoilers
version over to your external hard drive and then just download the Call of Duty stuff for Series X or S directly to the solid state hard drive. And then when you decide you want to go back to playing Cyberpunk, you won't be able to launch it, but you can copy it back over or do some game management of moving things around, and you can copy things back and forth. And it's relatively quick copying back and forth between the internal hard drive and the external hard drive.
That I don't know if is possible or not. I haven't really. I have a 4 terabyte external hard drive.
So that's how it works with the Xbox, at least. And for comparison, we talked about their smart delivery thing when this console generation first launched, and I think we might have understated or not understood how nice that would be, especially as we've seen true next-gen games be kind of slow trickling out on all of the systems. We've seen a lot of Xbox One, PlayStation 4 era stuff that kind of just comes out for both and then gets a next-gen upgrade on top of it. And what's been nice there with the Microsoft Smart Delivery thing is, for instance, I got Tales of Arise and Far Cry 6. Remember, I bought those games. I had my whole saga of getting that stuff. And I just told it on my Xbox, download Far Cry 6. And Microsoft was able to say, okay, this is a Series X device. I'm going to download the Series X version of the game. Had I been on my Xbox One, it would have downloaded the Xbox One version of the game to my device. So I think that we've seen, because next-gen games haven't been coming out as quick as we expected, that there's some pain points there when it comes to playing previous gen games on next-gen hardware, especially if they have updates for it. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
okay.
I'm kind of wondering, because on the PlayStation 4, we have the active installation setting. And so, like, my PS4 Pro has a good size hard drive, but not the 4 terabyte external that we normally have hooked to stuff. So, Willie, you're saying on the PS5, you can't choose the active installation point? It has to go to the main hard drive?
If it's a PS5 game, yes.
That's the limitation.
Like, I could download PS4 versions, and they'll go to the
and you can put it to the external.
Yeah,
but a PS5 game cannot go to the external, so you only have the limited hard drive space that's on the PS5.
I wouldn't even say it's that limited. I mean, a terabyte.
You can burn up a terabyte pretty fast if you're not careful. But I guess the point there is, if you decide to upgrade your PlayStation 5, they made it pretty easy to put another NVMe hard drive inside.
Yeah, they did.
So I imagine then your Active Directory thing or whatever it is, you could pick and say, okay, install.
Between the two internals.
The real question is can you take a PS5 game and you're not going to play it now, but you want to be able to play it later without reinstalling, and can you pick it up and toss it on your external hard drive? Not so that you play it from there, but so that you basically put it in deep storage. And I do know on Xbox you can do that, because I have done it with some of my Series X games where I said, okay, I know I'm going to want to go back and play this. Let me toss it on the hard drive, and then I'll just move it back when I'm ready again.
My fiance is amazing.
Oh, nice.
Who said
Coffee
that?
delivery? Huh?
Who said she was amazing?
I did. I said she's amazing.
Why would you say that?
Because
Why would you
she's
say
amazing.
something so painfully true?
Yep. Starbucks delivery mid podcast. Can't beat that with a stick.
Oh, a little bit. Starbucks.
Oh,
a lot
no,
of
it's
stuff can beat
delicious.
Starbucks.
Oh, you support
Delicious.
union busters. That's what I hear.
All I know is that. Oh wait, what was the movie? Ah, shit. My brain's
Bust Union Busters.
Dead Man's
kneecaps.
Curve. It was recalled like 3 different things, but the movie was originally called Dead Man's Curve, and it was the guy that played Shaggy in the
Matthew
Scooby-Doo
Lillard.
movie. Matthew Lillard. Yep. He's all. Do you even know what it stands for? Starbucks. Star the universe. Bucks money. Money runs the fucking universe. Yeah, Starbucks is running shit.
Fair enough. He also said a lot of weird shit in SLC Punk.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love that guy.
Are you talking to me?
I got my
man?
own Starbucks mug right here. It's Starbucks Fresh Roasted Cylon.
Fresh roasted Cylon. That
For those on
I mean,
audio.
having watched Battlescar, that sounds disgusting, because that's basically.
Listen.
Yeah.
I mean, their bodies are made of human meat.
No. It's a Centurion in there. It's all mechanical.
Oh, is it one of the robots?
It's a Centurion.
I'm so happy you
Well,
brought
I mean, yeah,
up
it's
the
hard
logo.
to see the logo.
I'm so happy you brought up the logo, Chris, because
Okay.
I remember the day I dropped Starbucks as a brand is the day they dropped the titties off their logo.
That's how you lose Willie as a customer.
That's true.
I don't need titties to enjoy a company, but they certainly do fucking help.
They certainly do help. So going back to my news topic, I guess the real situation here is if you're a PlayStation 5 gamer and you migrated a bunch of stuff from your PlayStation 4, double check and make sure you're running the actual next gen version of the game if that's what the experience you want to have.
No. That's on these idiots. Then I'm sorry if you're one of the idiots out there.
Well,
let me
Willie,
cut a heel promo right quick. All right,
Go ahead.
all right. You fucking morons out there. You see it on the screen. It says PS4 version in black with white letters, and then the PS5 version is white with black letters. It's not that hard to tell. You click on it, you go down, you see the 3 dots, you click on those 3 dots, and it says select a fucking version. If you can't see that,
Question.
get some eyes, because I can't take these 2020 vision for too much longer.
Question. Does it display differently on the home screen or just in the store between versions of the game? I don't know.
It says it everywhere.
I didn't know.
Everywhere. It lets you know
Willie.
if it's a PS4 version or
Hey,
PS5 version.
Hi,
I'm sorry.
don't have a PlayStation 5, so I was asking you a question as
I know,
our
I know.
expert.
Oh no, I wasn't yelling at you. I was yelling at the what the other
The
guy
royal
calls
you.
That's fair.
morons.
So that's fine. I tend to agree with you, but bear in mind, those of us on this show and probably most people listening to the show are a bit more tech savvy than the average consumer.
How about this? After this podcast, I'll take pictures of it so you guys can see for yourselves. See, like, oh, okay. Because literally, when you highlight a game, it'll tell you if it's PS4 or PS5 in the
Sure.
store too. It'll even tell you if it's split PS4 and
Yeah.
PS5.
It is obviously not an insignificant number of players that are playing on the older version of the game. If Bungie
you're not
felt
wrong.
they had to bring it up and say, hey, here's a PSA
Yeah.
on how to make sure you're running the most up-to-date version optimized for your
But
device.
I mean, maybe they want to keep it that way because they don't want to take up. This is a game they're always constantly going to play. So maybe they want to keep the PS4 version on a separate, on the separate hard drive, so it
that's a
doesn't take
thought
up
there, but
space.
you're eventually
It's
going
only-
to
I don't know.
you're eventually going to run into a point where
Reaching.
they stop
Reaching.
supporting that, and they're going to basically force you to upgrade if you wanted to stay on the old version. Because
They're not Apple.
well, no,
Well, I'm just saying, with the number of people playing Destiny 2 on PS4, that it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before they force them anywhere because they're still making a lot of money on cosmetics on that game.
same thing with the people that are playing on Xbox and stuff too, and things like that. And that's the
Yeah.
point I was going to bring up is we've got the whole Blizzard Activision acquisition that's going on with Sony right now, and Microsoft and Sony keeps throwing up complaints of, well, we don't want Call of Duty taken away from us. Microsoft's going to do that, and they've repeatedly said we have no intention of removing Call of Duty from the platform. It'll always be on a PlayStation as long as there's a PlayStation, things like that. I mean, they could do the exact same thing with Destiny in
Wait,
theory.
Who
as
was
Call of
saying the
Duty.
first part?
Yeah.
Which part are we talking about?
They're like, oh, they're going to take it off play. Who's
Jim
saying that?
Ryan.
With the Oh, I don't.
One of the
This is
heads of
legit.
Sony's video games section.
Yeah.
And Phil Spencer.
I mean, that I can understand when seeing the headline of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft. I mean, they're like, oh shit, oh,
I
Call
guess
of Duty money's going to
when,
go away.
when
but
you start
I can
reading,
get it, but
when
no,
you start
don't
reading
act
some
like
of the
that.
stuff from for lack of a better term, the video game dirt sheet writers, it comes down to Sony's really kicking up a storm, not necessarily because they think that Microsoft is going to take Call of Duty away, but their bigger concern is they're going to put new Call of Duty on Game Pass day one, and they're trying to prevent that because they
Yeah.
think that's a big selling point for folks.
Well,
I
and
mean, it
plus,
kinda is.
during the merger,
Why, I
pre-merger,
don't know.
those companies can make all the promises they want. They don't have to stick to them
Yeah.
unless it's actually in the
Look,
contract.
there's a lot of talk right now just to make
Yeah.
governmental entities that approve these things happy right now. We have no idea what's
Yeah.
actually going to happen, but the whole argument of, well, they might take their game off our platform has always been weak to me because, hey, they like making money too. Why are they going to take their game off the platform? Because there are a bunch of people who would just be like, fuck them then. I'm just going to stay on my PlayStation 5 regardless, and I'll just find similar Call of Duty-like games to play. So then not only do Microsoft lose cash, then Sony gets incentivized to make their own Call of Duty competitor, basically, that's first party. It's certainly not going to be Battlefield on EA that's going to be the competitor because it's trash.
Yeah, that's not
Trash.
going to cover it.
To be fair, Call of Duty is also trash. So
I mean, that's
okay.
that's accurate too. I can't tell you the last time I bought a new Call of Duty game. I will admit to probably 4 or 5 years ago buying some like off of one of the GameStop sales where it was like $4 or $5 because I went, hey, I'll play the campaign on this and then I can just get rid of them.
brand new. I think I bought The only one I ever bought like brand new, I think, like in like a launch window, was Black Ops 1.
I think we got to go back to Modern Warfare 1 or 2 for me.
Which
one.
one? There's
Yeah,
two
right.
Modern
So,
Warfares.
the Xbox 360 era Modern Warfare.
I know what you meant. I just want to make fun of them.
Oh, I know you're not wrong. It's the naming convention sucks. But
I'm sorry. Even though I like the Halloween movie, the naming of that shit fucking still pisses me off. Halloween cannot be a sequel to Halloween.
but that was my news. If you
Wait, there was 3 movies called Halloween. So Halloween was the sequel to Halloween after there was previously a movie called Halloween.
Wait.
Rob Zombie's first one was just called Halloween as well.
Well, that one was a reboot. Halloween is a sequel to Halloween, which makes it even more stupid. Like, the reboot, I get. I'm not going to argue against the reboot shit. But the fucking makes no sense. Warfare. Xbox Series, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I heard that snicker, Chris. I heard it.
You're far more worked up about this than anyone I know, and it entertains me. That's all.
Oh, I get lit up for stupid shit just because it's funny. For you, not for me, because nothing's
fair.
funny to me.
But to
Fuck
cap off
everybody.
my news story, basically what it comes down to is if you're gaming on PS5 and you want to make sure you have the most up-to-date version of your games,
It's
go
easy.
through whatever the process is, and if you have questions, ask Willie at South Porky.
I just went through it. I had this for like less than a week and I already know how to do that shit.
That's fair.
I do it on the first day. I
Congratulations.
found out some other bad
But-
news, but
But evidently, other people
Foreshadowing.
don't understand how to do it, which we'll get to at a later date, I'm sure. And Willie will share the bad news with you guys at a later date, also, I'm sure.
well, no, it's the same date. It's going to be one I'm into.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless you're going to cut me off, which is, understandable. I'm a dipshit. No one wants to hear me.
I'll let him go on that one, people. You're welcome. But that does wrap up my news story. Let's shift things over. Mr. Bachman, what do you got for us?
Speaking of people showing up and making changes to businesses, we got more cancellations coming at HBO Max, and now they are canceling Westworld, which a lot of people are freaking out about because apparently after the 4th season, which has a supposed ending, I'm not currently caught up on it. I watched the first 2 seasons. It's a damn good show. But yeah, apparently the writers and showrunners had said that they had spoke publicly, excuse me, that they were ready to wrap the entire show up in the 5th season. And apparently Zaslav was like, yeah, no, you're canceled. And let's see, what was it? From the Hollywood Reporter article by James Hybert on the 4th. Says, yeah, the networks decided to cancel the sci-fi drama after its recent 4th season. It's an unexpected fate for the series that was once considered one of HBO's biggest tentpoles, an acclaimed mystery box drama that racked up 54 Emmy nominations, including a supporting actress win for Thandie Newton. So as last month, co-creator Jonathan Nolan said in an interview he'd hoped HBO would give the series a 5th season to wrap up the show's ambiguous story, which has chronicled a robot uprising that changed the fate of humanity. We always plan for a 5th and final season. We're still in conversation with the network, and we very much hope to make them. Co-creator Lisa Joy likewise said the series has always been working towards a specific ending, and her quote is, Joda and I have always had an ending in mind that we hope to reach. We have not quite reached it yet. And so as they're probably getting ready to start work on what would have been the 5th season, they apparently shot it down. Let's see. What was it? Yeah, because they had linear ratings for pricey series fell off sharply for 3rd season, then dropped further for the season 4. So it was critic average on Rotten Tomatoes declined from the mid-80s for the first 2 seasons to the mid-70s for the later 2. And apparently also it was just hugely expensive, where I guess the last season cost more than than the new season of House of the Dragon. So for the robot show, you're paying more than the CGI dragon show. And apparently, cost cutter David Zaslav just came in, has been slashing, cutting, fridging movies to get a tax break, like doing everything, to make money as the CEO of HBO or whatever the hell he's in charge of completely that runs HBO. But yeah, they have shit canned what was for at least a year the most critically acclaimed show on HBO Max. And so this is just one more shot of them taking down, actual storytelling.
Wait, I'm going to say something terrible here.
Uh-oh.
He's right. Look at what the ratings were for the 3rd season of Westworld. Their numbers were in the toilet, and it was regularly getting crapped on by even fans who were watching it, being like, "The fuck is going on with this show?" Or whatever the most recent season was. Like the number
4
of
is the one they
people-
just finished.
Yeah, the number
Yep.
of people who are watching the show dropped precipitously. Like
Yeah, it
for
was
the-
something like 12 million down
Yeah.
to 4 million.
for the cost
so it's a
of this
huge
show,
drop.
and losing 75% of your viewership, this is one
Yeah.
of those things where you go, this actually makes sense to cancel. Yeah, you're going to make a quarter of the remaining audience mad, or a quarter of what the original audience was mad because it's canceled, but it costs way too much to make.
Hey, Chris, you mind if I boister you for a second?
I'm sorry?
You mind if I boister you for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't even know there was a season 3 or 4 of that show.
See, and that's fair too. So
You know?
I think it's fair, and it's totally fair game we've done on this show to kind of like dogpile on Zaslav and what he's done for Warner Brothers Discovery. This is actually one of those decisions. Maybe it's because I'm less invested because I didn't watch the show. I look at it and go, no, I kind of get where the decision would come from here, because you're talking about a show that, while it was massively critically acclaimed, that's what got them this far. You can't keep building off of those first 2 seasons after the vast majority of your viewers have just walked away and say,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to finish this up. I understand the creators want to finish their vision, something like that. Maybe you could have made a deal to be like, okay, we're going to give you a mini series. It's equivalent of like 2 or 3 episodes to do it. But even then, is the cost worth it? Especially when you're slashing things that are successful because you say it's a good cost saving measure. I don't know, man. I think, and I feel really dirty saying it here, I think he was actually right on this one. I think this is one of those decisions where it was actually right to cancel the show. And like I said, maybe it's because I'm not emotionally invested in it because I never started it. I get the ruthless calculus here.
And it makes sense. And yeah, on there was an attached article from Leslie Goldberg, also came out November 4th, of why HBO canceled Westworld. And yeah, it said the ratings for the pricey drama shrank from 12 million to 4 million, which I don't know if that's ratings. I think that should be viewers. Because yeah, it had a precipitous drop in the amount of people watching it. And then, yeah, here was the paragraph with the numbers. So season 1 of the series cost an estimated 100 million. This was in 2016. So this is 6 years ago. The expense was justified as Westworld opened strong out the gate and was rewarded with a speedy second season renewal as the drama became one of an early batch of high-profile shows to be off the air for nearly 2 years between seasons. Season 1, when factoring in delayed and multi-platform viewing, remember HBO Go, clocked in at an estimated 12 million viewers. Season 4 of the quasi-anthology series tumbled to 4 million viewers when the dust settled. Hardly enough to justify the expense of the series, considering HBO delivered a new installment of Game of Thrones for 125 million, with House of the Dragon earning about 29 million viewers. So you got House of the Dragon pulling in an extra 25 million views. And then, so what was it? Sources note that season 4 of Westworld, which again featured only 8 episodes compared to 10 for each of the first 2, cost at least $160 million. So Game of Thrones cost them less and got them more eyes. So yeah, the math is awful, but it makes sense as cost cutting.
A show in season 1 is probably going to be cheaper than a show in season 4, though, also, because most of these cast members and stuff probably have like escalation writers and stuff like that in their contract. That is, as we get more seasons, it costs you more money to get me. So, yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, Game of Thrones being cheaper to make and
It's
arguably
also
cheaper
supposed
over.
to be, what's the word? Amortized? Where you pay something over time? Because
could
you've
be.
already built the sets and stuff.
That's true.
So like Game of Thrones, they had to rebuild, parts of Dragon's Landing and Harrenhal Hall and stuff, where you had possibly
King's Landing.
Yeah, King's Landing as well. But I mean, you had possibly old leftover sets, but you had to build new stuff to show what those areas look like in the past. But then over the time, as you go forward in the series, those should cost less because you've already built the sets. Where Westworld, like they kept leaving the world they were in and going to a new area, and so I don't think they were getting much in the way of cost cutting because they kept introducing new stuff every season. Because like after season 1, if I remember correctly, everything I saw in season 2 was out in the real world, which is like a Blade Runner futuristic North America. And so you're having an extremely expensive, having to create all these new sets all the time instead of sticking to, having sets that are already done and being reused.
That's where green screen and the volume and things like that become interesting
Yep.
prospects for television going forward. There is a noticeable difference between things done like Andor on a real
Even
set versus the
still.
volume. There's only so much that the volume can do, I think.
True, but the
But-
volume does great.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
they do
don't
some good
disagree.
stuff with it. Yeah, it's going to be weird to see. Yeah, 'cause I mean, they had with HBO, you had like Deadwood, and you had the fan outcry when that show ended, and so it'll be a question to see like if with Westworld gone and the actor or the writer, co-creator, showrunners, if they really had an idea for us, a wrap up that they could do in maybe a 2-hour movie. Do we eventually get that? Is there going to be is it going to be worthwhile for a crowd reaction to try to push HBO to do that, or is it just done where they're saying the end of season 4 kind of wraps up with an ambiguous ending, but apparently it's an ending, and so might be one of those sad things for a show that was going forward into, hey, after this season we're going to wrap up next season, so we know every point along the storyline we need to hit. Let's start heading there, and then as they start heading there, boom, they get cut off short. It's not going to be the first show in television history to get killed before their final season.
They'll just quantum leap it and stick like some text on it at the end and call it an end. And you're like, the fuck you guys. Pardon my language there. But like for those that aren't familiar, Quantum Leap got canceled. They thought they were having more. And basically they ends with a fade to black and then text. It's Dr. Sam Beckett never made it home. And that was
Never
the end
made
of
it
the
home.
series. And you're like,
Which was
oh shit.
possibly the worst ending ever. Because that whole show was just, every episode is the hope that he leaps back into his own body. And then, they end it with, fuck you.
No, actually, no. They fucked it up before that because it was all like, the science fiction of it, the science to it is like, and then it's like, no, God's leading you to all these people. God's doing a literal personification of God. All right, fair enough. Oh, there's also the devil. That's a thing.
Well, yeah, of course.
That being said, have
Yeah.
you guys watched the new Quantum Leap? I haven't gotten to it yet.
I have not. I've seen the
The new
commercials a
one?
bunch, watching stuff on Peacock because I'm still finishing off Parks and Rec.
wonder.
It's on
But yeah.
NBC, and then
Yeah.
Peacock gets the rebroadcast.
Yeah, but I can't watch it. I can't watch it live because I don't do live and I don't do Peacocks. Fuck Peacock. No offense, Peacock, but fuck you.
No
Yeah,
offense. but
Peacock's
fuck
not bad. I mean, since
But,
I've been watching it, I got to watch the last 2 Halloween movies for $5 during that month.
That's fair enough. But I do want to say that since we brought up the Quantum Leap and how it ended, this is not how it ended, but there was like one of the I think it might have been a season ender, one of the episodes of oh god, what was it? Oh god, with Rice Davies in it, Sliders. Yeah, there was that one where like, if I'm correct, we're back in our dimension. I never got around to fixing this gate. It should squeak. Nothing as he's moving it.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I guess we're in the wrong one. Let's slide again. And then as soon as they slide, here comes his mom, comes out. Oh, thank you for fixing that gate. He never got around to it, especially after he disappeared. It was like, no!
Yeah, they made it home and then left again. Yeah, that show was pretty cool too.
I did like
Sliders was a good one.
Oh, Sliders so good. Rembrandt?
Sliders was
Well,
fun. I
Oh,
would
so
love
good.
to see.
What's his name?
See, Sliders, much like Quantum Leap, is something you could do a continuation of. And it'd be interesting to me.
I mean, ooh, Sliders. I don't remember how the whole show ended, but I mean, what if they if they kept on going and now they're like all badass and shit.
I mean, Sliders.
Come
is
on,
kind
Jerry O'Connell.
of- Sliders. Is
I know
kind of
you
the-
ain't doing shit.
It's kind of the precursor to friggin' Rick and Morty, if you think about it, to an extent.
Yeah, it is kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like
Hey,
I mean,
and Jerry
Rick and Morty
O'Connell is
covers a lot of
working.
the
He and
same
his
stuff.
wife host the new Love Boat show. Willie, have some respect.
Does it also come on Peacock?
No, it's on CBS.
Oh, it's even worse. You know what else is on CBS? The worst show of all fucking time, The Big Bang Theory.
No, that show's been over for years.
Well, I mean, it was on there.
Now
is what
you've
I
got
meant.
young
It was the
Sheldon
home of
that
it.
replaced it.
I don't give a shit about young fucking whatever.
That's fair. But Willie, what do you give a shit about? Are you going to do the do with us today?
Uh-oh.
The Do Report.
The do report.
Let me put on my nice tie.
Willie's bringing you the doo-doo.
So, I've come in here with a tidings of Mountain Dew. I don't know if you know it, but Mountain Dew is now like, well, it's for a while. It's been like the new Oreo, where there's like new flavors coming out. I don't even know. It's machine gun style. There's just boom, boom, boom. Every time you look, there's a new Mountain Dew flavor. I have since found 2 new flavors. One of them found out, I don't even know how long they've been doing this. Is a Walmart exclusive flavor called Frostbite. The image on the box was a shark bursting out of like a frozen lake. I don't know how a saltwater shark is living in a freshwater area. There's also a bunch of...
Did that packaging entice you more into wanting to try the soda? Did it do its job?
No, not at all, because I was like looking, and there's also like snow-covered trees, so it's definitely fresh water, which was weird. But I was like, and because also it only says for the flavoring, it only says natural and artificial flavorings. And I was like, but that doesn't tell me what the flavor is. And I was sitting there thinking, like, is this going to be mint flavored? Is it going to have some kind of mint in it? Oh,
maybe it's a Ryan Otley grizzly shark.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
I know.
It's not a good thing, but sure. But yeah, so I got it, took it home with me, and let it get cold in the fridge. And then I finally tried one. And do you guys want to know what the flavor is? It technically is a mystery flavor because it's not on the box.
It tastes like shark, right?
Tastes like
I mean, if a shark tastes
foot.
like this, they'd be extinct right now because it pretty much tastes like blue slushy.
Oh, that's delightful. Okay,
blue slushy Mountain Dew.
Nice.
The advertising for it kind of makes sense then.
There's been advertising for it?
No, the packaging. Sorry, the packaging.
Oh,
it
fair
makes
enough.
sense.
Yeah, I thought it was like, yeah, because this blue, sure, I'll give it to you. It's like blue and white. I was like, I thought it was going to be like a minty flavor. And I was like, oh, God, like a burst of Mentos or something like that's not going to be good. But it turned out to be delicious. And I guess I got to go back to Walmart of all places to go get some more. But here we are. But then there's number 2.
How do they sell it just in bottles, or can you buy 6 packs?
I don't know
or
about
12
bottles.
packs or anything like
12
that?
packs is how I bought it.
Okay.
And that's the only thing I saw, but I didn't really look that long. I just
That's fair.
saw that. I was like, okay. Well, you see, I went over there to look for a 12-pack of the Voodoo variety.
Willie's
I
favorite
see this.
too.
It's fucking great. It's so fucking good. But the problem is, there's a spot for it for Voodoo on the shelf, but there's never there in the grocery stores. Never seen a 12-pack of Voodoo. Just in little, let me turn around so it's secret, in 20 bottles. That's it. Like, and sometimes that's not even there, and I fucking love that. That sour Skittles, my mouth's watering already. Moist sounds. Gross. But any more questions about Frosty?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate it? Just so we can get an idea of how it ranks.
I don't like your numbering scale.
Okay,
I'm gonna say
pick your own numbering
it's Dewtastic.
What value does Dewtastic have for me to be able to compare it to other flavors and know if I would like it?
To me, it's better than Code Red.
Okay. That's
Code
blasphemy,
Red is
but
actually
okay.
well, Code Red to me is below regular Mountain Dew. It's good, but it's below regular Mountain Dew.
Really?
It's that weird aftertaste that's kind of like,
Really? Now I'm sad.
I didn't say it was bad.
You just
I
made
just
me
said it's underneath the regular Mountain Dew. Jesus, calm your tits, Chris.
They seem pretty calm to me.
Not from here. They look like they're flailing about.
Flailing about.
You know what it seems like you could use? You know what's helped you? Some potassium.
I just had a banana for breakfast.
I'm sure you did.
Cool.
Any more questions for Frostbite?
No.
Let's move on to soda number 2. Fruitquake.
Ugh,
So
That-
Fruitquake
name's awful.
is a fruitcake flavored Mountain Dew. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, I gotta try this. So, yeah, you could definitely taste the cranberry, the cherry. But then there's There's definitely some spiciness into it. Not like a hot spicy, but like, kind of like a cinnamon spice, where it's like a little bit to it, but not much. It's not meant to be hot. It's just meant to have like that flavor. If you like the gingerbread Mountain Dew from last year or the year before, I don't remember when, you're going to probably like this. Like, it's not bad. The aftertaste is kind of nice now. But I mean, I had that for like 3 days and it's still not drink. So this is definitely on down there. This is below Livewire, which is Livewire sucks. You heard me.
I don't care for Livewire. That's fine.
Yeah, it's terrible. It sucks because orange is my favorite color, yet the orange Mountain Dew is the shittiest one there is. But here we are.
Here we are.
You know what was probably one of the worst blue sodas? Pepsi Blue.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't care
fucking
for it.
terrible. I hated it.
Yeah. Pepsi Blue was not great.
But they redeemed themselves with Frostbite. Remember, Pepsi, born in the Carolinas, just like me. But that was your Dew report.
Willie
Willie.
done did the doo-doo.
You done did the do, and we appreciate it.
I don't like how you guys twisted that to be that, but God, I would just fucking punch you guys in the face right now.
Go ahead. Just punch the camera right now. I'll give you me full screen. Just punch. Just punch. Do it. You can do it, Willie. You can do it. Do it.
You're being a real see you next Tuesday. I want you to know that.
I was giving you the opportunity.
You're not giving me the opportunity. We only met in person one time.
I said you could punch me over the internet. It's the best I can do right now.
How about this? If I ever find out time travel, I'm going to take a recording of you saying this. I'm giving you opportunity to punch it. I'm going to go back in time to when we actually met, and then I'm going to punch you in the face and show you the recording. Like, you told
You
me
could just
to.
come visit me if you really want to punch me in the face.
True.
But
You guys
that
aren't that
means
far
I
apart.
can't create time travel and actually travel through time.
I mean, random.
I'll just travel through normal, boring distance, and who cares about that?
Look, there's an offer in the chat room from Random Rick Reviews saying he'll give each of us $3 to fight like in bum fights. So there's your chance. $3. You can punch me.
$3?
$3.
Wait, $3 each. Does that mean the
I
winner
think
gets
he's
9?
telling all of us to fight each other for $3 in total.
That's
I'll
what I'm
give
saying. Does
each
the
of
winner
you
get
$3 to fight.
To each.
So that's a total of $9, Willie.
I
So
say
we're having a
winner
triple
takes
threat
all.
match?
Winner takes all. Bullshit. I'm not fighting if I get nothing out of it in the end. Even like boxing fights, if you don't win the thing, you still get paid.
All right, how about this? The winner gets double. $2.
$2? Oh my god! He's like, "What am I, Mr. Beast over here?" Well, Willie, we do appreciate the random do review. I hope that there are some more holiday do's that come out so that we can bring this back.
More like Frostbite, less like Fruitquake, please. I mean, I do enjoy the fucking randomness of a Fruitcake Mountain Dew.
I would say, isn't the holiday
Make
season
it
coming
good.
up?
Yeah.
Should it be more likely you're going to get more fruitcake flavored Mountain Dews?
No, that's probably is their flavor for the season.
I hope they come up with 6 different fruitcake flavors, and you have to try them all.
How many types of fruitcake have you had in your life?
I don't know.
Aren't they all a little different based off the composition of the fruit?
Chris, shut up. Don't ruin
Yep.
my joke.
They're all different based on which bucket of
I mean,
stuff you dumped into that
Fruitcake
awful
is
cake.
gross, so it doesn't really matter one way or another.
If
Yep.
fruitcake didn't have nuts, it'd be all right. That's what I'm saying.
I think you're wrong because it's still fruitcake.
Yeah, it's not that bad. The nuts is what brings it down for me.
Yeah, chat room doesn't agree with you either.
Like, I
That's
mean,
not
I've only
fair.
had it with nuts, and I didn't really like it. So I'm not like I'm saying it's great. You guys are wrong. I'm just saying me personal taste. Jesus Christ, calm your fucking self.
You okay there, Willie?
No,
What's wrong?
He's not okay. He's not okay.
I'm
at
jacked
all.
up on Mountain Dew.
He's all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That's fair.
Is
Nothing Nothing more. Willie, okay, real quick before we transition off this, since you are, I guess, our Mountain Dew expert, seeing as you taste test them all, how often do these variants, or I guess, how long do these variants stay on the shelf, do you notice? Like, for instance, the Voodoo, that's mostly a Halloween thing, right? So it's probably ended its run for a bit.
I mean, to be 100% fair, I think that's more on the distributing side of it because they probably only make out so much for each of the flavors. But I mean, if they take longer to get to the stores, they're still going to put them out to sell them. So I guess it really depends upon that. I mean, month and a half, 2 months, I'm going to say, sometime around there.
I just didn't know how many you'd seen. So what I have done right now is I went to the Mountain Dew website because that's probably the place that makes the most sense. It says Voodoo is limited time only when I hover over it.
Yeah.
So that one's probably going. They had a Voodoo Zero Sugar. I would have tried that.
Oh no, I always see the fucking zero sugar Voodoo flavor in 12-pack, but I don't want that.
That's
I don't like the zero sugar, man.
Have you tried? This is new, I guess. Mountain Dew Spark.
That's an old one, isn't it?
It says new on their label.
What color is it?
Yeah, pinkish red. More red than pink, I guess.
Oh wait, Spark, isn't that like the raspberry lemonade?
Yeah, it's got raspberries on it.
Yeah,
it's got
yeah, that was
oranges.
all right.
It's a classic
was all right.
raspberry lemonade flavor, they say.
It tastes very carbonated.
Does it? Have you had the Major Melon?
Yes, pretty good.
I'm just scrolling through their list here. There is Code Red, which you talked about. There is Livewire, which you talked about. There's
Ugh.
Voltage. Have you had that one?
That's the purple one, right?
Yeah.
It's not that good.
So I think that's the only
It's above
one.
Livewire, but not by much.
I don't think there's a ton out right now because I got to Voltage and it stopped scrolling. So they don't have a ton of alternative flavors. They don't even have this Fruit Quake one you were talking about showing on their website.
I mean, it's here.
Yeah, I know.
This is definitely Mountain Dew.
I just guess their website's not up here.
Earthquake.
Well, they're talking about Mountain Dew Typhoon being back on here too, which I've never heard of.
Me either. Are you sure you're in the American server?
I am. Evidently, it was on the Mountain Dew store in June and is no longer available, they're saying.
What is?
Typhoon.
Oh, that's a shame.
Mountain
Hardly-
Dew Typhoon doesn't say what's in it. It has pictures of pineapples and other tropical fruits on it and people surfing. But
They
it's a-
did.
it's a-
Wait, was that the pineapple one I had? I don't remember it
Maybe.
being called Typhoon.
That's what it was
No,
called.
it was called something gold. And I remember it was actually not bad. The pineapple Mountain Dew was actually really good. I think I talked about it on here actually too.
Well, Willie, we look forward to the next new Dew that comes out so that you can tell us all about you doing the Dew, dude.
Oh, I'm ahead of the curve. Like people don't even know about Fruit Quake, but I got the low down on it just for you guys.
I'm a simple bitch. I don't drink soda very often, and when I do, it's like one of the Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar ones. I have the Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar cream soda upstairs, and that's just delightful.
Did you know that when Dr. Pepper first came out, it was meant to be taken hot?
Yes.
That's fucking disgusting.
Have you tried it?
No, because hot Dr. Pepper. Oh, that's the end of the sentence.
It does work in one occasion. Flaming Dr. Peppers.
Even
Tastes
then, it's
exactly
not
like
all
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
In the chat
I
room,
said,
Random Rick
That's the
View
one time
says,
it works.
I almost tried, I believe, Riptide from the Dollar Tree, but when I opened it, the smell was so bad, I just threw it away.
Riptide, what was that? Was that another Mountain Dew flavor?
I think so. I think it's the one we were just talking about. Or was that Typhoon?
Oh, it's Typhoon.
I don't know. I can't keep track of it.
Typhoon Tide.
Look, I'm an old man. I come from the day when there was Mountain Dew, and that was it. And then eventually we got, oh, no, Random Rick says a drink called Rip It that he was talking about. Like I said, though, I come from an old time. When we talked about Mountain Dew, it was just the Mountain Dew. We never had anything different. And then we got Code Red a little while later, and that was pretty good. And then we had, in 2007, the best Mountain Dew ever that they've never made again, Halo 3 Game Fuel. The best.
There have
Mountain
been
Dew.
many game fuels, but they keep changing the formula.
Halo 3 Game Fuel is the best game fuel they've ever made. That shit got me through a legendary run of Halo 3 after a midnight release. It was brutal. And I was so hopped up on caffeine, I don't know how I made it to class the next day. God, I miss the game fuel.
Yeah, this Mountain Dew Typhoon, I've never seen this.
Now that we've gone down that trip down memory lane, it kind of makes sense that we should go down our memory lane of what we've gotten into this last week. That's right, we're at the end of the show. Our little segment called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with the audience, both live and time delayed, the geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into. Because, hey, you guys may want to go check them out yourselves. We sort of teased it a little bit with what Willie's been getting into. So I think we should just let him have the floor first, since I took away a little bit of his thunder, so that he can get into more of his discoveries. So, Willie, what you been getting into, sir?
Seems like a weird Mountain Dew. I'm looking at weird Mountain Dew flavors now. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now it's time to put that away. So, I went on a little adventure this beginning of this week. I went to a couple places Monday, but then a couple places Tuesday, but then Wednesday. Technically, let's go back a little bit before Wednesday. It's Tuesday night. I'm over just scrolling through Reddit. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, what is this? Someone on the PlayStation subreddit said they found a random PS5 in the wild at Target. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll go test. I'll go look at some Targets tomorrow. Went to one off Wendover Place, and sadly, no, they didn't have them there. But the guy there, he did tell me to go check out Lawndale or Battleground, which I think Lawndale is Battleground now I think about it. I went to New Garden, and going there, it took a while to find a guy in electronics, because here's the weird thing. In both Targets, they were doing some kind of weird, I don't know if they were resetting planograms or something, but it seems like there was like some kind of like what's it called when they count things? An audit. Yeah, inventory. That's it. Inventory audit. Yeah, they were doing. I'm guessing it was that. It was something, but they were doing it in both stores. I thought it was a little weird, but I was like, all right. Then finally found a guy in electronics. Dude was nice, chill. I said, hey man, you guys got any PS5s? He's like, if we do, it's probably only digital only editions. But I can go check for you. I was like, oh, thank you, man. And I said, if it's only digital, don't even worry about it, man. I'm all good on that. He said, all right. Comes back saying, lucky I just had the one left. I was like, woo, 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 woo. And so I got a nice little PS5 here. This right here is the PS5. Weird, it's so small, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How did they fit it into such a small little handheld device?
I wonder if it tastes like Switch cartridges.
Are you going to lick it like the Olivia Munn thing from back in the day?
It's super bitter. It has the same stuff that this. I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's also
Doesn't taste like banana?
Banana. It's going to taste like banana after I'm done with it.
I don't think I want to know what that means.
Oh, but you're going to.
That's what I'm
Nobody
afraid
does.
of.
Nobody wants to know.
Yeah, that was the adventure of that. And so I brought it home, plugged it in. I've been having some troubles with the TV though from like a couple weeks ago. They were working on the power lines outside, so they've been going off and on for a little bit. And I think although the power company, they didn't knock on my door or anything saying, "Hey, the power's going out," which is a little annoying because I think when they did it, it went out and it came back right back on after like a second and a half. And then it stayed on for like 3 seconds and cut back out again. I think in all of that, even though it's in a surge protector and some shit, I think it fucked up. I want to say the HDMI ports in the back of the TV, I want to say is where the problem is specifically.
Okay.
Because I changed HDMI cables. That didn't do anything. So what the problem is, whenever I turn on my PS4, back after this happened, like all the sound through the sound bar would just crack like.
Yikes.
I was like, you could kind of hear it, but it was like going in. It was like, there's no way you could do it. You can't do that. So it wasn't really a problem because I got headphones. I mean, it's kind of a problem, but not really that bad. I mean, anytime I'm playing a game, I have to wear the headphones. Anytime put a movie in now, headphones.
Have you tried it on a different television?
So here's the thing. I put in the PS5 because I thought hopefully the problem was with the PS4 because that PS4 was on its last leg anyway. Plugged in the PS5, same thing. And here's also the kicker. Before I even tested the PS5, apps on the smart TV didn't have a problem with it. it just played normally.
So is it your sound bar then, or
I don't think it's the sound bar either.
try taking the sound bar out of the loop?
Well, if it was the sound bar, then I mean, it would like when I
Yeah.
stream, like use
fair.
YouTube or
Yeah.
Hulu or anything like that, it would still do the same thing.
On the
So I
TV
think
apps,
it's-
everything sounds fine.
Yeah, only when something is plugged into a HDMI port, and I changed them in the back too. I've also
Okay.
changed the cord for both the PlayStation and the sound bar, so that's not the issue. So I think it's something shorted out in the HDMI port. It might be the arc out port because that's where I have the arc out going
Yeah.
to the sound bar. So I'm guessing
that
something
sucks.
shorted out there. And how you replace that, I don't have a fucking clue.
You wait for the Black Friday sales, you get another TV,
That's a bitch answer.
or you take it up with your power company, like, hey, whatever you did, effed up my television.
Yeah. Well, especially if they were flickering power off and on in a neighborhood where they knew they were working on the power and give you no warning. Like, that's kind of bullshit.
Someone else said, "Oh yeah, they said they knocked on people, but they didn't hear them knock on their." I don't know. Maybe I just didn't hear them knock on the door, which is a possibility. But I mean, first of all, knocking on the door is bullshit. If you knew you had this scheduled, you go down to the house and you put a fucking letter in their
Exactly.
fucking mailbox
They
or on
need to
their
notify
door
you.
or something.
Yeah.
Like say, hey, power's going to be intermittent throughout this day. So I don't have to specify a time. Just say throughout this day. That's understandable. Or these days, like if you're here for these days and this,
Yeah.
because there's only when they worked on that power pole and that power pole for the power lines, and that was it. Like actually, there was another one sometime that cut out. I was like, what the fuck? All right, whatever.
Yeah, I think if it's the port itself that is damaged, what you would have to do to fix it is literally replace that part of the motherboard or something like that on the television.
You mean the
itself.
port, right?
Well,
Or
it's soldered to the motherboard on the television, right? So you would probably have to, and there's no guarantee it's the port itself. It could be later
Yeah,
on
that's
where
fair,
where the issue is. And when you factor in what the cost and then the labor would be to do that, you're going to call it a bitch answer. You're probably better off just getting a new television and moving that to your bedroom or some other room just to be a TV that's used for its apps.
Well, I mean, I was going to do this another way that I think is smarter and cheaper.
What's that?
I mean, well, here's the other thing. If I change the sound from coming out the sound bar to the TV, it doesn't do it.
Oh, okay.
So
That-
anytime I have a buddy over or something like, hey, check out this game, and I have to use the PlayStation, I just like change the sound output.
That's weird
Yeah,
though.
so-
If it's only when it's
yeah.
on the soundboard or sound
Sound bar.
when it's something that's plugged into one of the HDMI ports on the TV.
I
That's
think
weird.
it's the arc out port. I think it's specifically with that. That makes the
Wouldn't that
most sense.
still be giving you bad sound via the soundbar from the apps on your TV because it uses that ARC port to send the signal out to your soundbar?
Oh, that's right. Or maybe it's something with the like it going into one of the HDMI ports and then going out of that.
Mhm.
Because I even changing the input for
But that's
from
where
the
it gets
PlayStation
confusing
goes
though,
in.
is because if you then take
Yeah.
the sound bar out of the equation, then the sound works fine on the television speakers.
Mhm.
That's really confusing. I have no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, already it's whatever at this point. But I mean, I'm still enjoying TV, and these 3D Pulse headsets gives me that 3D audio. I just saw so also what I've been into last night. I just beat Miles Morales.
Ooh.
So I'm sorry, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was a damn good game. I'm glad I waited for the PS5 for that. Holy shit, is it such a short fucking game in comparison to the other Spider-Man? Like I knew it was like a smaller game. I didn't think it was gonna be that small. I mean, it's still fun. Still loved it. They added a lot of stuff to it, and oh my god, the ray tracing making my eyes bleed. And Bachman, did you play it at all?
Yeah, I finished Miles and Amazing.
The Into the Spider-Verse little mod that you get, I fucking love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, when I first saw that, oh my god, in 4K at 60 frames, I was like, oh, just seeing to the stutter, was like, oh, that, oh my god, that will probably fuck with some people, and they probably couldn't do it.
True. But how did you like the update to the combat system where they simplified amazing for Miles, and so you have less gadgets, but everything flows better? I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, we mean that flows better.
Well, I mean, like having like the Venom Blast and all of Miles' capabilities, like the way they work with the controls, it was just taking everything with Amazing and just making it one step better.
Well,
like it was so nice. Well, by the end of the Amazing Spider-Man, when you've got like 8 different gadgets you can shoot out, it became a bit much. Like it's Spider-Man, he's not fucking Iron Man.
Do you know it's not called Amazing Spider-Man? It's just called Spider-Man, right?
It's amazing. You deal with it.
Yeah, I know the game is amazing, but it's not in the title. It's not a titular word. But it's been so long since I played Spider-Man that I couldn't tell you the comparisons.
Yeah, see, and I went right from one to the next.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was just nice because, yeah, Insomniac took all the great things about the Spider-Man game, and then they just simplified it. Just because, yeah, by the end of the first one, when you're playing with Peter Parker at the end in the awesome suit, and you've got 8 different gadgets you can shoot out, and you can only choose one gadget at a time to shoot. It's a bit much because it's supposed to be Spider-Man. You're supposed to be bouncing around fighting, web slinging, but you have 8 different gadgets in the wheel. It was a bit much. They're cool, but yeah, I like the simplified systems that they came up with Miles, where you've got his added ability because he has Venom Blast, which Parker doesn't have. But then, yeah, they simplified the gadgets to where it was just, I don't know, I thought it was more in line with Spider-Man and in the comics, and like it was just a really good update. Because yeah, Miles is shorter, but the game is so much fun to play.
Oh yeah, super fun! I can't wait I had to go back and rewatch
that next
the trailer
one.
for the second game. I was like, ooh. I mean, I think I know where it's going. We're going to get Venom Craven, aren't we?
Well, it's going in that dark alley where Venom's hiding.
Yeah, but Craven's the one who was talking over top of the whole thing, and then all of a sudden it's Venom in there. Okay, sure. Why is Craven talking the whole time? That was Craven, right? That can't be. It's talking about hunting people, so it has to be Craven.
All I'm hoping for is that it's the Ultimate Spider-Man version of Craven, which might be the best update that they've ever done on a character, where he was a reality show host that went around hunting things all over the planet. And when he showed up in Ultimate Spider-Man, Parker just punches him once, knocks him out, and moves along, and never deals with him again. So it was hilarious because he's just a shit-talking human.
No, he was evil Steve Irwin.
Kind of, yeah.
Evil Steve Irwin.
Yeah, the ultimate version of Kraven the Hunter was hilarious.
Yeah. Now, I'm wondering if we're going to get something, and I'm sure in the comics this happened, where Venom might have gone over Kraven, taken over Kraven. Does that happen in the comics?
I don't know if we've ever gotten Venom Kraven.
I'm not sure either.
Because if you remember in the PS1 Spider-Man game, the first one, or I guess it was also called Spider-Man 64, there was a special villain, final bad guy, which was called Monster Ock. Where Carnage, the symbiote Carnage, took over Doc Ock. And that was like the final fight. It was pretty fucking awesome. That game was so fucking good. I replayed it so much.
I mean, at some point, Venom, one of the symbiotes has to have been on Kraven at some point, but I can't just remember off the top of my head.
Didn't they just do like some giant symbiote arc in the comics just recently? Like some big crossover or something like that. So it probably happened then.
And
possibly.
Seems like there was something else that happened this, and I can't think of it. And I'm going to be thinking later, like, oh, why didn't I say it? I'm such an idiot. That happens so often. But you know what? I'm going to leave it there.
Always
I'm
something.
short on time. I'll let it go. So next.
All right. On that note, then, I will go next. I've got my notes right here I can look at real quick. I have been continuing to play Marvel Snap because I'm addicted to that game. Not as addicted as Willie. I know he's further ahead than I am in that. Although I did finish the Battle Pass, and I'm at level 58 in the Battle Pass, I think. So I'm just getting the content packs or whatever.
Did you get any variants?
Not yet.
I didn't get any until 65.
It's mostly been like gold and credits and stuff like that. I got up to 50, which was my goal, so I could get the variant Miles card. Anything after that's just gravy, is how I look at it. But I'm having fun with that game. But today's thing, where it's a bunch of stuff where the Clone Lab features more prominently, has really effed up my gameplay. I got to shift to a different deck because I got my ass handed to me by a guy that just kept cloning Wolverine and Carnage It was a mess.
Like that was all he was doing.
Pretty much, it was Wolverine and Carnage that he just kept cloning and putting everywhere. It was bad, man.
But that's not that power creep is so slow and bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't have any
Carnage gets up there, but
I couldn't get any cards to begin with, which really killed me too. Is I've had terrible luck all day today with actually being able to play any cards at first. Like it'll get to like turn 3 sometimes before I'll be able to drop a card, and I don't know why. Just because my draw has been unlucky.
Where have you gotten in the season ranking?
I've been as high as 42. I'm back down to 40 right now.
All right, I just made it to 60 last night. It was hard fucking fought to get to 60.
Yeah.
I was in the 50s for most of the week.
What I have learned is my Odin reveal deck has some flaws, so I need to tweak it.
White Tigers getting down there in my eyes.
Yeah,
it's
same
like
here.
7 power, but you have to put 1 power somewhere only.
Yeah, and White Tiger, I think I need to revisit what I'm doing in that. My current thing I really like doing is to get stuff out there early is my Forge and Mr. Sinister combo. Is if you can drop Mr. Sinister right after Forge, you can basically put 2 4 cards down for the cost of 2. Which has worked out well for me.
Your Forge is not bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. I made a deck last night. Let's see. I called it Disruption. Oh yeah, it's kind of what an idea that you had, Bachman. I was already kind of thinking. I just put only cards I put in there is shit that fucks with you. Core, Gandhi,
Yeah, my dick deck.
Yeah, Scorpion.
I
Some of
fucking
which just
hate
for lane
Scorpion.
correction for yourself, but also could fuck over the other ones. They're only cards that fuck over more. I take your cards.
Yep.
The card
I only have a 6 count card. I only have the Spider Woman's the top.
Spider Woman's a great card. I think
Hobgoblin. Yeah, Hobgoblin.
they need to do a rebalance of some of the cards, which they did do some stuff in this last patch update. But the Killmonger card is OP. It doesn't hurt me that much because I don't run Zoo decks. But for those that aren't familiar, the Killmonger card, I think it costs 3 energy, and you can drop it in any lane, and it kills all 1 power cards of your opponent's deck that's out. So if you run a Zoo deck, you're fucked. And it's like one of the only cards out there that isn't lane restricted to what it does. That's what kills it. Is that
go ahead.
Put that in your dick deck if you're playing against Zoo decks, and it'll be pretty prominent. But I think the Killmonger card needs to be reined in some, because having something that can impact all lanes for that cost, oh man, if you run a Zoo deck, you're fucked if someone drops Killmonger on you.
So he's basically the opposite of Kazar?
Yes.
Kinda. Yeah, see, it works really well for my my Devil Dino deck, which I call Devil Inside.
Yeah.
Because there's only one drop card. And that's Agent 13, and that's it.
Yeah. There's some interesting, as I've gotten further into the game, there's some interesting dynamics coming into play. I also hate getting Iceman played against me. Although one game, it was one of those games with a cloning vault. The guy kept playing Iceman, so eventually my Wanda went from cost 2 to cost 6. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to play Wanda this time around. But that's absolutely insane that every time you dropped an Iceman, it would just kept racking up the price on Wanda. Thankfully, it didn't on my Spider-Woman card, because that's what my deck was built around. But that's neither here nor there. Marvel Snap, really fun, having a bunch of fun with it. I'm curious to see what the next Battle Pass is. As we were saying in our group chat, I don't 100% know that I'll buy the Battle Pass next time. It's just a question of, does it have cards in it that interest me? Or is it themed to something that's interesting to me? Like doing the symbiote stuff that had Miles and Carnage and stuff like that. That was interesting. And I feel like I got my $10 worth out of it. But we'll just wait and see what happens.
I've been seeing some rumblings what the next one is, but I don't know how exact they are. I guess going forward,
it makes sense. It should be Black Panther themed with Black Panther coming out next week.
One would
like,
well,
yeah,
also
it should be or Wakanda
was
themed.
Going to be was it 5 cost 4 power? Yeah, 5 cost 4 power that on reveal doubles its power. So if you can get a Forge in there and then double that, or no, Hulkbuster wouldn't work either. But Odin would fucking work on there.
That would be really good for an Odin deck. That would almost make me take Spider-Woman out of my deck, because Spider-Woman, if you're in a full lane, that's like an 11-point swing. And Spider-Woman's an awesome card. 7 power. It's 7 energy. Cost 5, 7 energy, but she also does -1 power to everyone opposing her in that lane. So that's an 11-point swing potentially. Spider-Woman's a great card. Other stuff I've been getting into. I watched the first 2 episodes of Blockbuster on Netflix. Yes, I note the irony of Netflix doing a Blockbuster television show, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Continuing my Cyberpunk 2077 replay, like I'd mentioned before, this is really the first time I've gone into it after all these quality of life updates. And a lot of the quality of life updates they've made to this game make a huge difference. One of which I love, but is the dumbest thing ever they should have done to begin with, is if you played Cyberpunk when it first came out, your V looked ridiculous because you would just wear whatever gear gave you the best attributes, regardless of whether it looked cool or not. They have done a thing now where if you're in your apartment, you can, for lack of a better term, create a permanent wardrobe off of things you've collected, and then when you equip other gear, it doesn't change your appearance. So like you don't have your V running around in booty shorts and cowboy boots and like a suit top because that had the
Maybe
best
I do.
specs. I mean, maybe you do if you want to. You don't have to.
Willie
use
does.
this. But
Willie does.
since they've introduced the ability to take like pictures and stuff in game and pose things like that, being able to have like a default look for your V that doesn't change based off the gear you equip, that's pretty cool. So like my V looks a lot like Silverhand because I wear the Silverhand jacket, the Silverhand aviators, but it's a cool look. So I've really enjoyed that. Yesterday, and we're not getting into the politics of it, but I went and did my early voting. It was the last day of early voting where I live, and the line was pretty long, so there's been a lot of turnout. I'm not going to get into anyone's individual politics, but I just encourage you to go out on Tuesday and vote if you're listening to this show or watching this show. If you don't vote, you can't complain about the process. And then the other thing I did is, because it was on sale, I said I would give it a try. I have a year's worth of the Walmart Plus service that I got for $49, which gives me Paramount Plus for a year, but more importantly, lets me get free grocery deliveries from Walmart. So I signed up for that for $49. You get cash back on Walmart purchases and stuff like that. And I used it to buy groceries that were delivered yesterday. But what I didn't realize is they split my order into 3 pieces. So I had the bulk of my stuff show up at like 11 a.m. Then at 3 p.m., they dispatched another driver that dropped off 2 bags of chips. And I was like, the fuck, why is this a separate thing? And I was looking through our stuff. I was like, oh, we didn't get our box of beef jerky that we were supposed to get. And I looked in the app. I'm like, oh, there's another driver coming tonight that's going to drop off just my box of beef jerky. So they don't really optimize the delivery on it, it would seem, because my one order had 3 different drop-offs. Now, most of it was all in the first order, but I felt bad for the guy that came at like 9 p.m. to drop off my box of beef jerky. Very strange.
Now, to be fair, he was probably doing 6 other drop-offs along the way, and then dropped off your beef jerky.
Because you can track them when they start coming out to do your delivery, and it like showed the route the guy was on, and he was all over town. I was like, I feel really bad. But the thing is, I don't know how their tip feature works, because when you place the order, you just say, I want to add this tip on. That's great if you have one driver, but how does it split my tip between those 3 drivers? Because if it splits it equally, the first driver really got fucked because she delivered 95% of my stuff. Whereas the second driver delivered me 2 bags of chips and the final driver delivered me a box of beef jerky. So I hope it kind of weighs it based. I honestly don't know how it works, but
I'll bet the first driver gets the whole tip and the other 2 don't get nothing. I'll bet you that's how it works.
Which also sucks for those guys too, but also sort of makes sense when you factor in the fact the first driver did a crap load more of the work. And I know Kroger has their own program very similar to this, but it's $100 a year. So I hadn't tried it yet, because you can do the same thing with Kroger where they'll basically deliver your groceries and you get extra gas points and stuff like that. Everyone's moving on to these
subscription.
I don't know that I would pay $100 a year for this service, but for $49 to play around with it, I figured I would try it. Even if I only do grocery runs once a month using this service, it sort of pays for itself then, because normally if you get groceries delivered from Walmart, it's like 10 or $15 for an order. So if I do once a month over a year, it pays for itself.
Isn't Paramount Plus like $10 a month for the main
Paramount Plus
account?
Is $10 a month. But I should also point out, my Paramount Plus account should have ended 6-9 months ago, and they still haven't turned it off. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So I've had free Paramount Plus for like 9 months because they haven't turned it off for a service I'm not paying for anymore. And I was like, okay, well, until you turn it off, I'll keep trying it out.
That's on them.
Now, I'm sure some Paramount Plus sniper is going to hear me now and shut down my account, but whatever. They're listening to everything. What else have we getting into? Nothing of consequence. No toy hunts that were successful this last week. I had to run out to the post office on Friday, and I stopped to see if I could score anything else, and no, nothing had been resupplied, so it was disappointing. Very disappointing. But that's what I've been getting into. Bachman, why don't you wrap things up for us, what you've been getting into?
Let's see. Watch a couple of random movies. We watched See How They Run last night, which was the new Whodunit on HBO Max with Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan. Sam Rockwell is always awesome, so It was cool seeing him as basically a British detective in an Agatha Christie kind of whodunit story. Super fun, entertaining movie. Not some massive world-changing event, but it's good. It was entertaining. It was really fun to watch. We started the Al Yankovic story, which is we got like the first half hour into it. It's hilarious because he takes all of the like cliched beats from people's biographies and just kind of puts them in a Weird Al twist. Where literally at one point his mom's like, "Could you just stop being you and enjoying the things you love? That would really help us out." And like it's just hilarious because that like almost nothing in this movie happened the way it happened in Al's real life, and so because he's just basically fucking with the storyline, it's Weird Al writing it, so it's hilarious. And Daniel Radcliffe is amazingly great as Weird Al Yankovic. It's so strange to see, and yet really interesting. And then there's a scene where Weird Al shows up as a record executive with a bad hairdo and no facial hair, and it's really weird to see him look like that. Because at first I didn't know who the actor was that Daniel Radcliffe was across from. And I was like, oh, wow, that's Al Yankovic with no mustache and like a bad like businessman comb over. And it was just hilarious to see because you got Daniel Radcliffe sitting there with like the big curly hair and the Al Yankovic mustache. And he's sitting across from the actual Al Yankovic who's dressed up as a shitty business executive.
To be
just
fair,
a hilarious
had
scene.
A mustache for a while.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the mustache was the look through like the 80s and stuff when he was
yeah.
becoming popular. So yeah, so Daniel Radcliffe's rocking the mustache through the whole show. But yeah, it's really funny so far. I'm looking forward to finishing it. But yeah, it's such a weird movie, and yeah, it's the first Roku exclusive film. So it's weird, like that's what they came out the gate with. But all right, and Daniel Radcliffe seems like he's having a blast. So the way they've done like the inspiration for his song stuff when he starts writing songs was just a stupidly funny scene. It was really fun to watch. Let's see. Played a little bit more of. I'm like 20% through the second Uncharted now. So I got through the next section of that in the jungle. Enjoying that game. Enjoying the running around placing bombs and stuff. I did a segment with that. There's one segment of like an almost unending wave of mercenaries, which is kind of ridiculous. It's like, okay, at this point I've killed like 60 guys in this one little area. It's like, where were all these dudes hiding? Like, what treehouse were they all hiding in? It's just one of those spots where like they generate enemies, and you're like, yeah, this makes no sense that there'd be this many people like at this little camp. But
So
yeah,
that is something they said about Nathan Drake. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in the world.
well, technically he'd be a spree killer because he doesn't have an MO. But yeah, I have murdered a lot of people in this game. So yeah, it's been fun, and yeah, I've been enjoying that.
Quote Sin City. That's the good thing about Hitman. No matter what you do to him, you don't feel bad.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Hitman's a Hitman. Yeah, played a little DBD, finished off the Hollowed Blight event. Kind of excited, looking forward, saw the PTB stuff with the new Knight character, and the new Survivor just looks like, another random guy, but the new Night Killer looks kind of cool, where you send out entities that have patrol pass that then attack people. So it's a weird mix of like the AI that they've used for the zombies for Nemesis, as well as like having like Victor as a second controllable character for Charlotte. So, at least they're trying to change things up, trying to come up with new game mechanics, which is good to see. And then, see what I'm almost done with Parks and Rec. I think I started season 7. So I've been watching that between, when I take my work breaks. 15 minutes of dumb comedy is really nice to like let my brain just relax. And then, Jenna's doing, there's a shoebox thing where they fill up packages for kids at one of the church organizations that she has donated to before. Started to do 5 new shoeboxes yesterday. So I actually got out my 4 boxes of toys from the garage, went through them, found some stuff that we could give away to kids that's like, not covered in weaponry or demonic stuff. So, of course, all the Todd McFarlanes are staying with me because those are basically all like crazy demonic weapon toys. But while I was doing that, I pulled out some of my other stuff that I hadn't pulled out of storage yet. So on camera, you can see behind me, I've got the floating Leviathan again, because I found the stand for the Hell Cube when it's in diamond mode. And then next to that is the Doctor, which is one of the coolest Cenobites ever, because the toy actually hangs from the tentacle that's attached to his head. So he's floating in the air, hands up with his weird tentacle, like scalpels coming out of his hands. And then his feet actually don't touch the ground. It's a weird hovering toy, which is kind of cool. It's not something you see too often with an action figure. And then I did find some of my most favorite toys ever. So from Body Bags, they actually released a set of Clownface and Panda, the two funnest killers of all time. And Clownface actually has his giant Chuck Taylors on, which is just badass. And he has an actual chain for his wallet chain. It's always cool when the toys that have chains have actual chains on them. And then, yeah, little Panda and her, Panda cheerleading outfit. And, of course, has a gun strapped to her hand. Little badasses. And then one of my favorite toys of all time, I found it again and pulled it out of storage. I have a 10-inch chrome silver surfer, which will be going back up on the shelf.
I have that same one somewhere.
Is that what we're calling it nowadays?
Yeah, it's a 10-inch chrome silver surfer, bitch. Yeah, so can't wait to put this back up. This is one that literally, I think I bought this my second or third year in the Navy. And like this toy has been with me in like every house, every apartment I've ever lived in. And you put the sucker on a shelf somewhere where the sun hits it, and man, you better watch out because it will blind you. Yeah, it's awesome. And then also been going through. I'm loving that new anime Chainsaw Man. It's hilariously dumb. The character Denji is just so weird and funny. And I actually wanted to get a little further ahead of waiting for the cartoon to come through with the English dubbing. So I actually went and bought me a Shonen Jump, and so I got the volume 1 of Chainsaw Man. So I've been reading through this, and yeah, the artwork on it is super gruesome and cool. And the guy, like, he literally, pops out chainsaws from his head and his arms. And yeah, he's Chainsaw Man. Like, it's the perfect anime for me. I finally found like my favorite anime, and I love it. There's like 11 volumes of this book already, and the cartoon just started on Hulu, and it's like 4 episodes in now. It's a hilariously ridiculous story, and the action sequences are freaking awesome. It's like a weird world where every demon is like a Pokemon. They each have their own individual power, and they can all each do something different. And then the main character, Denji, is this ridiculous kid who was basically homeless and left with his dad's debt. And so the mob was forcing him to like do whatever to pay back like this 30 million yen debt or something. And so like the kid lived in a shack with his little demon dog that had kept him from committing suicide and was like killing demons to pay off the debt. And literally like his dream come true in life was getting to like have marmalade on a piece of toast, because it was a kid who was so poor, like he lived off a slice of bread a day. And through like the second and third episodes of the show, his only goal in life now that he has a job where he's able to feed himself is he just wants to touch a pair of boobs, because like he's never touched a girl before. So it's hilarious, and the storytelling's great. The actions is fantastic, and yeah, just the special effects. And yeah, I mean, the character has a chainsaw coming through his head, and he can pop chainsaws out of his arms. It's like the best titled anime ever, Chainsaw Man. I freaking love it. It's hilarious. I have toys coming for this. Like, I saw a hoodie earlier today on my Instagram that I might have to order. Like, Chainsaw Man is my favorite thing right now. It is such a fun damn story, and it's ridiculous. And yeah, Pochito was the little chainsaw dog demon that he starts with in the first episode. It's the cutest little like demon Pokemon character ever. It's basically a puppy with a chainsaw for a nose, like, and his tail is the ripcord. It's hilarious. But yeah, been enjoying the hell out of Chainsaw Man. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and we took down all of our Halloween decorations. Yeah, we did that Saturday. Yeah, so the house is waiting for. We left some of the pumpkins out to be in the holiday spirit for Thanksgiving, but that's it at this point.
You left those candles lit overnight, didn't you?
Hell yeah, we watched Trick or Treat. Never blow them candles out. Sam will come get your ass.
Was that a thing made for the movie? Because I never heard that before.
I mean, I think it depends on which old tradition you look at for, like, Samhain or All Hallows Eve. Like, there's thousands of different Halloween traditions out there, depending where they're coming from. But I bet there's at least one of them where it says you don't blow out the candles. And now Sam says you don't blow out them candles, bitch. You get gut.
Why? Why does he care?
Because he is the spirit of Halloween.
It's just a candle. The pumpkin's still there, being spooky. Like,
he likes the candle. He likes the flickering.
Well, then let him go get his own pumpkin.
There are his pumpkins. He's Sam Hain, the spirit of Halloween. They're his pumpkins. They're all his pumpkins.
Halloween does not own the rights to pumpkins. Fall
Yes,
does.
he does.
And
on that night, he does. On that night, he does. Don't fuck with Sam's pumpkins.
Fine. Fair. Stab me all you want with your sucker. Who cares?
Yeah, we watched Trick or Treat again this year for Halloween. That's my favorite. One of my favorite annual watches. We always watch Trick or Treat on Halloween night, and that is still probably the best anthology in the last 10 years. Like, it's such a well-made story of anthologies. Like, that show is just so damn good. And yeah, Brian Cox as the crazy bus driver is just awesome. I got an NRA membership in my pocket and a shotgun over the fireplace. I'm not afraid to use it. Like, it's just so good in that movie. Yeah, trick or treat, like always. But yeah, looking forward to. I'll have to watch Dutch. My holiday watching of Dutch is coming up, because when Thanksgiving rolls around, you gotta watch Dutch. But it cost me a pretty arm and leg to find that sucker on DVD. It is not an easy one to find. I had to get that off of eBay. They did not make enough copies of that movie on DVD. Yeah, that's my holiday one.
No offense.
Yeah, but
I enjoy it.
Everybody else likes Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I prefer Dutch.
Never
Nothing
seen
burps like
Planes, Trains,
bacon.
or Automobiles.
Wow. Okay, that's worse than Chris not seeing Fifth Element, just so you know.
I doubt that it's worse, but all right.
It is. It is worse. You really should see that movie. It's Steve Martin and John Candy kicking ass for 2 hours. It's fucking hilarious. Yep, that's what I'm gonna get into.
Well, very nice. On that note, I guess we're going to start shutting things down here in just a sec. But before we do that, a friendly reminder, we do stream this show live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at www.geeks.live. Yes, it is in the middle of a redesign, but the landing page is working. And if you are on there right now, you can see a calendar of all of the upcoming live events. There are a lot of other live shows on the network. I do believe the next live show is Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., probably this afternoon as we record this on November 6th. But I do want to point out a week from Monday will be the next episode of the Gonna Geek Show, as we have moved to a monthly show. So please come join us in the chat room. Hang out with us. Before we shut this thing down, you guys have any final thoughts, feelings, opinions you want to share with the people?
Learn the difference between PS4 and PS5. It's not that hard.
I mean, there's something. It is for some people, evidently, it would seem. But what do we know? What do we know? On that note, we are going to shut this down. Thank you so much for joining us for this latest episode of the podcast. And we will see you all next week for more of our typical shenanigans. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us at atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.